I know you're all tired. Last but not least is obviously the advertising people. So the point I want to make with my presentation today is the importance of insight. I know I mentioned it earlier about people giving good briefs so that we can do good work. I'm going to make a parallel here with Africa. I'm going to show you how important a lot of us here are going to expand into Africa. We're going to conquer the Africa. We had a good point about the small fish in a big pond. Trust me, Africa is like that. So I'm going to start my presentation by telling you a lot of us think that Africa is a country. It's not a country, it's a continent. How many of us know that there are 54 countries there? Not a lot of us. How many of us know that in the continent, under the African fabric, are a lot of different cultures, are a lot of different identities? Over 700 million people in Africa, 800 languages. We're not in Mauritius here, guys. But a lot of them have common problems. Undernourishment, HIV is a major problem there. Illiteracy is a major problem. They all have a lot of common problems. But, having said that, it doesn't mean that there is a global solution for Africa. Not one size is going to fit all of them. Africa is very complex. What is it? Africa, in my opinion, is a sleeping giant. We haven't realized the potential of Africa. It's coming, guys, and we're in the middle of it. A few examples. The 1.6 trillion, which represented the GDP in 2008 for Africa, is equivalent to Russia or Brazil. The prediction is a staggering 2.6 trillion in 2020. Take 860 billion, which the consumers purchased in 2008, they're predicting it's going to become 1.4 trillion in 2020. Factor in the phenomenal growth that we've had over the last decade in Africa, at 5%. The big players in this market at the moment are South Africa, Egypt. Let's look a little bit more detail. South Africa is leading the pack. Egypt is close behind. Nigeria is there. But how do they do it? I mean, we must realize that for Africa, if we want to be part of Africa, how to brand yourself. I'm going to show you a small movie about South Africa and the way it brands itself. It has tackled those main problems of illiteracy, of job seeking, you'll see it in the movie.
For many, the word new means a starting point, a beginning filled with promise and hope. 20 years ago, a new South Africa was born, with freedom for all. It brought new possibilities, bigger industries, and fresh business opportunities. It brought better education, new jobs, homes, and stadiums. We've achieved so much so soon. We've become a generation of free thinkers. We've become leaders. And after 20 years, South Africa is still looking at new ways of doing business, new ways of growing, creating a new global landscape for investment, and new ways to change the world. With more people playing their part, we'll never stop pushing to find new frontiers, new solutions, with a vigor and optimism born in our land. We might be 20 years old, but we'll always be a new South Africa.
Very inspirational, born out of insight. What does it mean to us going into Africa or in the region is the potential and the capacities out there. Those markets are going to grow. Best we get our act together and make our projects attractive to these people, especially if we want to go in on the high end. We're not talking about the bottom line. People that are already playing their game, that have adopted the relevance as well, are big brands like MTN. They came up with a solar phone in Uganda meant for the fishermen. They have a 57% market share, very relevant. Let's go across the dock here, a $40 phone with a dual SIM card and a bicycle charger. Guys, it's not big R&D, it's relevant, it's understanding Africa, it's about insight. And my emphasis there is the marketing department. Are they doing their job here? These guys are doing their job. There's no fancy campaign, but the marketing department knew what they had to do. In a nutshell, it has to be locally relevant and globally aspirational. And what does that mean? That the consumer in Africa basically wants to be treated like the consumer in Europe. Okay? We can't make the difference here. So, understanding this consumer is key to our marketing efforts in Africa, in Mauritius, in the region. Some other facts about Africa, we've all talked about it, but have we taken it into consideration that mobile phones, the growth of it, is going to be, the gap between smartphones and non-smartphones is going to be cut down by 6. The media penetration, have the CEOs taken this into consideration that TV, radio and mobile have about an 80% penetration, whereas newspapers, magazines and internet, it depends on the market segment. We talked about social media. Africa's not that different, guys. The Googles are there, the YouTubes are there. They're all pretty much about the same, but with one sole difference. In Africa, there's a population breakup which is unique in the world. Okay? It's the only continent where 65% of the population is under 35 years old. In Europe, it accounts for about 5% of the youth. Big difference, guys. And again, talking about the insight, when we get clients that come and brief us as agencies, we need real briefs, guys. How many people know about the Ubuntu in Africa? 1, 2, 3. And we want to go conquer Africa. Best we get the insight from these people. Ubuntu means that you and I are one. How does that go through in a solution providing inspiration? I'll explain to you a project here. No big advertising, nothing. Just good thinking. In South Africa, most of the payments are paid online, prepaid, be it your insurance, be it your water, be it your electricity. It's all online. Very simple. They came up with an application, put it on the phone. Up to there, it's fine. Then what they came up with was Luna. Luna is a little machine. The entrepreneur will buy this machine, he will load it up, and he will resell it to the consumer with a 5-6% margin on it, and you punch in your code, much like you do your telephone cards here, and you've paid your bill. Up to there, perfect. But we haven't done Ubuntu there. We need to understand the genius of these people, the marketing, was they done the pilot project in Soweto. What does that mean? That means they got 150,000 taxis driving around, transporting over 20 million people. Now think about it, guys. I climb in my taxi, I've got to drive 5-10 minutes. I ask my taxi driver, please sell me 50 rand to pay my electricity. He quickly does it. While I'm driving, I'm inputting my payment for my electricity. And by the time I reach the destination, he's got a taxi fare and he's got 5-6% on my thing. Guys, marketing, that's marketing. That's coming up with ideas. Another big problem in Africa is the child rights. You may or may not know that child soldiers is a big, big problem in Africa. Over 250,000 of them, some as young as 8 years old, are involved in this conflict. It's a tragedy. So how do we make us internationally known? Good insight, good briefing. I'll show you what the campaign that came out of it. Insight. I paid him to do that.
The African continent has the world's highest number of child soldiers, fighting in wars they don't believe in, for causes they don't understand. UNICEF has created a program that extracts many of these children from combat and helps reintegrate them into society. In an effort to raise awareness for their program, UNICEF sent out a direct mailer to supporters and potential corporate sponsors containing a packet of what appears to be toy soldiers. However, once opened, you find the figurines are in fact not toy soldiers, but children playing soccer, reading books, riding bikes, and engaging in familiar childhood activities. Beyond the rise in volunteer applications and donations, the direct mailer created loads of interest, appearing on over 15,000 websites in over 50 countries, transcending both borders and languages. An ongoing reminder of the realities these children face every day, recipients were compelled to support the work UNICEF is doing to transform child soldiers' lives.
I assure you, our work with this team, it was born out of insight. There's no big billboards there. There's pure insight where the client was able to explain his problem. The agency was able to find a creative solution for it. Another problem that's current in Africa is the diamond problem. A lot of blood diamonds, but nobody wants a diamond bought out of blood. So how do we communicate this message? You'll see the advert, and it is again born out of insight. That's how the creatives will be able to do their job. Totally Africa, totally relevant, and only out of Africa. Can you find a solution like that? Born out of the inside of Africa. So, what do we have to do? We have to understand our insight. We have to have a proper insight into identity, understanding where we come from, the truths that we can connect with. This is very important. I'm going to show you two last adverts here. One about a mobile distributor in South Africa, and about an international car dealer or car sales brand that moved into Africa and how they made it relevant to the people in Africa.
The more you recharge, the more you get free. From 10 rand and up, rewards you gon' see. That's not enough, you do the math. $50 and up, you can double that. That's more airtime for you to use on anything, anytime, to the network you choose. Get instantly rewarded with free airtime every time you recharge, and from 50 rand, get double. 8-time more prepaid, live rewarded.
You early risers and late nighters, you plan makers and secret spot finders, you quick dippers on a hot day, and all you guardian angels, you viewfinders, lifesavers, sight seekers, you easy takers, and new memory makers. For playing your part, you cute. Chevrolet, find new roads.
The point I want to finish on is when a client calls an agency in, make sure you got your facts right if you want exceptional work. Don't expect us to be able to come up with your marketing strategy. We're not there for that. So the solution is within us, it's within our communities. We must look into that insight, we must listen, So if we want to spark any ideas, it's within us, guys. So we must combine design, technology, confidence, and of course the communication to make our continent, which is Africa, which we're part of, to become self-reliant. So Africa, Mauritius, all of us, we all have the potential. We have no excuse if we do it right. Thank you.